Hello, Cooper Clever 1972 here. So let's see how can I start off this stream? So uh, I guess the first thing I'll mention is why I'm on half an hour earlier than I usually am with these streams. Not that I've done a ton of streams recently, but well, I don't know, 4 or 5 streams, or I'm not quite sure exact number of streams I've done so far. Um, anyways, let me just turn the kitchen light off. I want to save money there. So, but anyways, I don't want to waste money on my electricity bill. Might not seem like much, but it adds up, I think. So I was discussing as to why I came on half an hour earlier than I usually do. Or well, I don't know if it's usually. It's just as I've been doing these streams, the last 4 or 5 streams or whatever it is. I just think it might be a little earlier for other people. That might be a little convenient for other people, especially people like in the UK that watch me, because I know it's really late at night. Well, like if I usually start at 8, it's 1 a.m. for them. And I know it's pretty late right now for them. It's probably 12:30 in the morning right now over there. But yeah, so, but also I want to start. I think the next time I come on, I want to come on even in a half hour earlier from now, like 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not just for more conveniency for people, like in the UK, but also because the boxes now that I'm going to show might have um, more books, and it might take longer to go through them. So, anyways, one person's on right now. I don't know who that is. I told a few people that I'm going to be on tonight, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I was just saying to whomever is on right now, I was just saying I thought maybe starting a little earlier would be better. I've only, the person, whoever it was, got off, I guess. Yeah, so yeah, I'm thinking starting earlier these days. Well, I don't know, just for now on, maybe for at least a while, because for it to be more convenient for other people, like in the UK, like because I know it's like 12:30 at night over in the UK. Oh, hey, LJ. 10 minutes is phone. Oh, okay. No bother, LJ. That's perfectly fine. So, anyways, you can see, LJ, what I said. I was just saying I've decided to come on a little earlier because people like you in the UK it's late at night for you. It's like 12:30 at night, I think, for you. I'm thinking, LJ, while you're on, that I might come on like half an hour earlier from even now. So I'll be on at what would be your time over there? It'd be 12 midnight for you, So um, yeah, I'm saying, I was just saying that these boxes, they might have more books, so it might take me longer a lot of time to go through. Yeah, I don't sleep until like 2:30 either. Yeah, so a.m. But so let's see. Two people are on here now. Anyways, I guess I'll get to the books now. Let's see. What do I have? So I guess I'll start with this one. This is a book a friend gave me as a gift. I've yet to read it. The Age of the Image: Redefining Literacy in a World of Screens by Stephen Abcon. Forward by Martin Scorsese. I've seen this man at the Jacob Burns Film Center. He was on the board. I don't know if he's still on the board. I don't know if he's one of the people that is instrumental in creating the burns, maybe, but my friend thought this would be a good book for me to read. I have yet to read it. There he is right there, Stephen Apcon. I don't know too much about him. Yeah, he is a founder and executive director of the Burns. So yeah. Next book is a book by Andrew Sarris. It's called The American Cinema, Directors and Directions, 1929 to 1968. So it's probably a very old book. I think it's, let's see, is this, I guess it's listing directors here. Oh no, actors. Yeah, directors. Yeah, I don't know. I picked this up, so I thought it'd be interesting to read. Let me see. How many viewers do I have? 2 viewers. So have I always had a passion for books and cinema? Yes, pretty much, Sal J. I said maybe you were in one of the other streams. I don't just like reading film books. I like reading other books, like mostly nonfiction these days. History, philosophy, art, science maybe, but I don't know. I'm not good at math, and I believe in science, but I just don't know if I completely comprehend science books. But those are pretty fascinating. Maybe politics. Hey, Todd. So we got 3 viewers now. Yeah, but I've always liked to read. In terms of my mother, when I was like, I don't know, 6 years old or something, forced me into a library reading club, summer reading club, and at the time I only liked reading books with pictures. But by the time I was like on my 2nd or 3rd book, I was like, I loved to read. So I read novels starting off, but if I read novels these days, it's usually the classics, or if it's a modern writer, I like novelists that are a little more heavy. Well, I don't know if heavy is the right word, like philosophical, or not light reading. Yeah, if it's light reading, it's like a history book for me, or film criticism, or film criticism can get maybe heavy sometimes. So yeah, so let me see. Okay, so I'll show this one next. Haven't read this. Mr. and Mrs. Hollywood, Edie and Lou Wasserman and their entertainment empire. It's another book the library was getting rid of. He's a creator of Universal Studios, so it's a thick book. I don't know when I'd get around to reading it, but working for the library, you get free copies. Because I work there, somebody's going to get rid of it, so maybe, Hey, Sasha. So that's Mr. and Mrs. Hollywood. I guess when Sasha's here, so now I can start showing these books. These are BFI books. They're small books. I think they're called monograph books. Well, and they have pictures in them, each one of them. This one is on Brazil. It comes with pictures of the film, plus comparing it to other movies. And they're generally around 100. Well, let me see. This one's maybe even less. This is even less than 100. This is like, let's see. This is 85 pages. So they're short. They have pictures. They usually approach a film from a certain standpoint. Like The Birds is done by Camille Paglia, who's a feminist professor. She approaches The Birds from a Greek tragedy angle. So, and then they're famous authors that have written for this series, like Salman Rushdie is one of them. I don't have that, but this Wizard of Oz he did. Here's one for Dr. Strangelove. Here's one for Seven, Richard Dyer. it's going to take. I have a lot of these books, and I haven't read all of them. I've read some of them. Terminator, Night of the Hunter, Jaws, and then those were out of the box for quite some time. Now the ones inside the box, there's more here. Unforgiven. Yeah, I can't wait to read the Terminator one. But Vertigo, one of my favorite Hitchcock film. Wild Strawberries. Oh, LJ, speaking of phones, I'm thinking of doing one of my streams with one of, or both of my guitars, but I'm thinking of doing it from my iPhone, and I don't know how to stream from my iPhone. I think it must be easy. This is the birds that I was talking about, approaching it from Greek tragedy. You know, like like Oedipus getting gouging out his eyes, you know, same kind of thing there. I think something like that. Eyes Wide Shut. Seventh Seal. Oh, you like guitars, yeah? Yeah, I have a Epiphone Les Paul Special and a Fender Squier Bullet Stratocaster. And I have a MIDI keyboard too. Blade Runner, one of my favorite movies of all time. In a previous stream, I showed the book about the making of Blade Runner, The Matrix. I haven't read this one. Should be a fun read. In the Realm of the Senses, it's sort of like, well, it is kind of art house porn film. Oh, I better be careful. There's some, let me see. Yeah, there's some nudity in here. It was like the only hardcore porn film to win the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and I think it's banned in Japan because of the subject matter. Because they, who's in Blade Runner? Harrison Ford, Sean Young, Edward James Olmos, M. Emmett Walsh, Rutger Hauer, Joanna Cassidy, Brian James, William Sanderson. I think is who am I missing? Those are some of the cast members. I think I've read this one, 2001: A Space Odyssey. I have another BFI book on 2001, but this is one of them. The Godfather. I think I read this one. I'm not sure. Star Wars. Sorry, I'm not showing all the pictures. It would take forever to, I think, go through all this. It'd be too time consuming. So I'm trying to flip through them fast. Belle de Jour, one of my favorite films. One of my favorite Boone Well films, along with Viridiana. Citizen Kane. I don't know if I'm giving you a good view, but The Exorcist. Oh, thank you, Todd. M. Thank you, LJ. Pulp Fiction. I'm not a fan of Pulp Fiction, but I want to know why people like it. I think it's highly overrated. I've said that before several times on YouTube. I think I hate the talkiness of it. It's how it embellishes the talk, you know. Seven Samurai. I love these books. I probably would love having more of them, but those are the ones I have. Let's see, what's next? Okay. Marshall McEwen, I guess the co-author, Quentin Fiore, The Medium is the Massage, an Inventory of Effects. This is a pretty famous book, but I've yet to read it. I think he's in Annie Hall. He's in the scene where Annie Hall and Alvy Singer, played by Woody Allen, they're waiting in line for a movie. And there's this guy talking about, I think it's Fellini behind him. And I think he's talking about Marshall McLuhan, and Alvy Singer, Woody Allen says, brings Marshall McLuhan into the frame. He just happens to be there, but you know, it's a comedy. And he says, I heard what you said about my book. How you could teach anything is amazing to me, you know, something like that. But anyways, this is Marshall McLuhan. So Portable Film School, everything you learn in film school without ever going to class. I never read this book, but the title kind of sounded interesting. It's just text, I think. Short History of the Movies by Gerald Mass. I must have a ton of these history of film books, but this is one of them. This is an old one. I think I got this like at a library sale. Let's see. The Whole Picture, Strategies for Screenwriting Success in the New Hollywood by Richard Walter. Of course, this is not really the new Hollywood anymore. It's a dated book. I mean, the blurb is by Joe Esterhaus, who wrote Basic Instinct and Showgirls. This is by James Lipton. Inside. It's about the Actors Studio, and you can see Meryl Streep there. Paul Newman, I think. Let's see, who else is that? Is it De Niro, Robin Williams? I can't tell who all those people are. Clint Eastwood. So, oh, I thought you'd find this interesting, Sasha. I don't know if this is signed by Walter Murch. I don't think it is. But anyways, I don't know if you have this book, Sasha. The Conversations, Walter Murch and the Art of Editing Film by Michael Ondaatje. So I think it not just covers Walter Murch, but, you know, Touch of Evil, Walter Murch recut for, well, Orson Welles was dead at that point, but he recut it so it would look like Orson Welles originally intended it to be, because after Citizen Kane, a lot of Orson Welles movies were like neither finished, or they couldn't get the financing to finish it, or if they did, they were caught up in legal limbo. I think his daughters had made trouble about getting his films shown. Luckily, a lot of his films are starting to become available to people. Like one of them is The Other Side of the Wind, which is his last film that's on Netflix streaming, and there's a documentary about it called "They'll Like Me When I'm Dead" or "They'll Love Me When I'm Dead." And there's a whole bunch of criterions these days. These days, which are Orson Welles, which are, you know, now out there. And but anyways, Walter Murch re-edited Touch of Evil to the notes that Orson Welles left to have the film made. So now we can see Touch of Evil the way Orson Welles intended the film to be seen. So like that of course is Apocalypse Now, which Walter Murch, he did the editing and sound design for. He's also known as a great sound designer, not just editing. He's a very intelligent man. I met him. I saw him at the Tribeca Film Festival. He was promoting Cold Mountain, which is a film I really don't like, but the DVD is fantastic. The behind the scenes stuff, that's worth it to buy the DVD, but the film itself I don't like that much. But about a biography of Anthony Quinn, The Original Sin. I've never read this, so I have no idea what this what's said in here. I don't know if there's any pictures. I guess there isn't. So, but Anthony Quinn, he was in La Strada by Fellini. Let's see, and he was in Lawrence of Arabia as what's his name? I can't remember. If somebody remembers in the chat, you can put it there. What's his name? Adu. I don't know. Whatever. Pauline Kael, the best film ever made. That's Citizen Kane. I think she credited Orson Welles with the Citizen Kane over Herman Mankiewicz, who has an interesting career as well. Is Welles, because he was an alcoholic. I'm just looking at the notes here. I'm just trying to catch up on the notes. I need to be a film studies teacher. I don't know about that, LJ, but Paul Newman was the first guest. Yeah, I've only seen parts of the Actors Studio on YouTube, like the cast of The Simpsons, for example. First guest. What about Moulin Rouge, LJ? I don't understand. Anyways, Images of Man. It's just another film book. Virgin Spring down there by Bergman, which is well, Virgin Spring has been best film ever made. Okay, it's your favorite movie, I think, right? Moulin Rouge, LJ. So I think that's it's Blow Up by Antonioni. Oh yeah, about Moulin Rouge. What is Cinema by Andre Bazin. I think he ran Cahiers or however you pronounce it, the cinema. I think he's like older generation than Godard and Truffaut, but this is a book he wrote, which I think is supposed to be an important book. See, not just me. Okay, this book. I'm not exactly sure what you mean, LJ, but yes, Brian, you mean Moulin Rouge is your favorite movie. Sasha, see, not just me. Haha. I don't know what that means, but anyways, behind the screen, the history and techniques of the motion picture. It's probably kind of dated. Again, I have a fair amount of dated books, but I do like reading some books that are dated. Not necessarily all film books, sometimes film books, but like history books or novels or whatever. Method to the Madness, Hollywood Explained by Dick Adkins and a cast of 6. I wonder, I think there's some pictures in here. I think there's Robert Redford. Yeah, that's Robert Redford from The Sting. So those are some pictures from that book. So this is about, I guess, Westerns, Horizons West by Jim Kitsis. Maybe Jace would love a book like this, you know, because I know Jace did a video about his Western collection, and I bet he's fond of. Well, I bet he'd be fond of a book like this because it's it covers one of his favorite genres, I would say, which is Westerns. What is my top 5 favorite movies? Oh, well, Todd, there's a I think it was my actual first stream. Maybe it's a month or so ago. No, it's December. It's somewhere in December, I believe. My first stream is my tentative top 10 movies, and you'd find it there. But if you want to hear just quickly, and there's film that could replace these 5, but 5 is let's see, La Dolce Vita by Fellini, 4 Throne of Blood by Kurosawa, 3 Lawrence of Arabia by David Lean, number 2 Citizen Kane by Orson Welles, and number 1 2001: A Space Odyssey by Kubrick. But there's other films I could put in place of those other directors. The directors that I just listed, there are other films of theirs that I liked a lot as well. So it's not set in stone, in other words. This is by Peter Wolin, Science and Meaning in the Cinema. I think this is a picture from a Godard movie in the front. I think I've seen that Godard movie. It was one of his, like, I don't know what to call it, like a dissection of a film scene that he did. You know, he was kind of artsy, Godard. So Godard was kind of. Let me see. Am I breaking up, Sasha? It says streams finally stopped buffering now. And people in the chat, do you see? Is there something wrong with the stream? Well, anyways, so Godard. His connection. Okay. After my favorite Godard film, and one of my favorite films of all time, is Weekend by Godard. And I like Alphaville a lot as well. Band of Outsiders and Breathless are pretty good. But his films that he made after Weekend, I don't know if they're as good as his other films, and especially Weekend is his greatest in my opinion. But you know, after Weekend, he really went. Weekend was really artsy, but he went really very, very avant-garde with his next with the films after that I have seen of those. But that was one of them, and I think he's just reconstructing a scene in a Western and sort of dissecting it and breaking it down, sort of something like that. Let's see, what do we tackle next? This is probably not worth anything, but I think I picked this up somewhere. American Cinematographer Manual. It's not worth it. It's just outdated. Maybe I should just get rid of it. Stanislavski on The Art of the Stage. This is geared towards theater actors, but it also can be applied towards film. But I have not read this book, so but I think there were certain actors that might have applied lessons from this book. Like I think like Marlon Brando, for example. Um, he worked with Stella Adler. I think he's Taxi Driver's number 10. 9 is Apocalypse Now. Number 8 is Ingmar Bergman's The Shame. Number 7 is Vertigo. Number 6 is Patton. But there are plenty other ones I like. Those are my tentative top 10. There are other films by the same directors I like just as much, like Dr. Zhivago or 8.5, for example, or Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, Paths of Glory, Dr. Strangelove. So it's not just particular. Well, like I maybe I relate more to Taxi Driver a little bit. Not that I'm a psychopath, but I just seem to relate more to those characters. I'm not a Travis Bickle, but I find him a really interesting character. But what was I trying to say? I don't know, but yeah. Oh yeah, Raging Bulls, just as much a classic as Taxi Driver. I just like Taxi Driver just like an inch more. So let's see next. Okay, liveliest art by Arthur Knight. History of the movies. I don't know when I'd read this, but it looks kind of dated. I mean, it's an old book. It smells of, I don't know, must or whatever. I showed the Fritz Lang one of these books. This is one on Bernardo Bertolucci. I can't remember who I was talking to. Maybe it was Sasha. Bernardo Bertolucci is dead now. He died in 2000. Wait, maybe it was my friend that lives near me. You didn't get like Breathless, huh? Okay. But Sasha, do you like any of Godar's movies? Like Band Apart, also known as Band of Outsiders, and Alphaville. And have you seen Weekend? Because that's a great movie, but you might think it's pretentious for all I know. But anyways, Bernardo Bertolucci interviews. I love Bertolucci. Two of his films I really like a lot. The Conformist is another one of my favorite films of all time. And I think I like The Last Emperor a lot. It won Best Picture of the Year, came out. I think it's it's one of his best films. 1900 is good. It's like 5 hours and 15 minutes long. It kind of gets carried down, sort of gets bogged down in its own kind of excess, or it kind of exhausts itself. I don't know, but it was like a 5 month shoot. So, but I still like 1900, and he did some other good films too, like Last Tango in Paris, for example. So Bertolucci's a great director. So here's a book. It's basically a pictorial biography. Okay, see you soon, LJ. How do I rate Sidney Lumet? I like his films, but I wouldn't count them as my favorites. But let me see. The Verdict I like a lot. I have seen Dog Day Afternoon, but it's been quite some time. Yeah, so this is a book on Dario Argento, who's a horror. He's a giallo director. He directed one of his most famous films is what's that called? Suspiria, and I know that Aaron Penn likes what's that movie? Tenebrae. I think it's Tenebrae. He likes other ones of his as well, but I think he praises Tenebrae, which I think has Jennifer Connelly in it. This is Films and Feelings by Raymond Durgnot. I have not read this book. There's some pictures in there. Some of these books, I think, put the pictures in the middle of the book usually. And then there's others that sprinkle the pictures through the film. Yeah, there's Passion of Joan. Is that Passion? No, that's Alexander Nevsky right there. And this is Passion of Joan of Arc, which I'll just briefly mention. Passion of Joan of Arc is a famous. Is it French? Yeah, it's a French silent film. The woman that plays Joan of Arc, it was the only movie that the woman who played Joan of Arc was in. And I think it's a tearjerker for a lot of people. There's a continuity error in the film. There's a person that wears a watch that you see. So there's that continuity error, but it's pretty impressive movie. There's a criterion of it, and it was done by Carl Theodore Dreyer. So yeah, it's a good score for 1900. This is Kuleshov on film, writings of Lev Kuleshov, who's one of the Russian filmmakers, I think from the silent era, like Eisenstein and Podevkin, for example, and G. Gafertov. This is I have a bunch of Roger Ebert's books. This is one of them. Questions for the Movie Answer Man. There's a Fargo, Independence Day. Oops. Superman versus Batman, that stuff. This one is a filmmaking book, making your film for less outside the US. I don't know. This probably is not relevant these days. Probably things have been changed. So addressing that, some filmmakers make films in Canada, like American filmmakers, because of the taxes, because I think making films in California are getting expensive. Well, they have been expensive for quite some time. Like they shot the X-Files in Canada. And I don't know. I can't think of other films or television shows, but a fair amount of television shows and movies have been shot in Canada. Oh, you're Canadian? Where in Canada are you? My brother just moved to Montreal at the start of this year, so I'm trying to get a passport so I can visit him. I'm in the process of getting a passport, so, and I'd like to go to Japan too, but I've been buying movies, and I got to pay all that off first on my credit card payments. I paid off one today. I got another coming up, another month. I'll probably maybe a month or two, and then I'll go back to saving for Japan, which will take probably a few years because it's just incredibly expensive, Japan, and the plane tickets, Ontario. Okay, is that above Toronto, below, south or north or east or west of Toronto? But anyways, I've been to Toronto. And I've been to the Niagara Falls part of Canada, but that's the only foreign country I've been to. I've been to California. My family was staying in, we went down the coast of California, from San Francisco to LA and then back up to San Francisco. What was I saying? Oh, so I think we were fairly close to the Mexican border, but we never went. I don't know if it's dangerous, that area of Mexico. I think it's called Tijuana, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, back to these books. Film Experience, Elements of Motion Picture Art by Roy Huss and Norman Silverstein. I read this a long time ago, maybe when I was a teenager. It's a good book. It's a very interesting book. Here's the movie I was talking about by Boone Well. Besides Belle de Jour, this is Viridiana. This scene mocks The Last Supper because Boone Well was an atheist, you know. This is the animation book by Kit Laybourne. Speaking of animation, I'm probably going to participate in this year's Ryan Chataway 24-hour movie marathon, and one of the rules of the marathon is or guideline or whatever you want to call it is you have to watch a stop motion animated film. And I just recently bought a box set of Ray Harryhausen movies, so I'll probably use one of those. And I've met Ray Harryhausen a really, really long time ago, like when I was 13 in 7th grade. I went to my first science fiction convention, and he had the Kraken there from and the Medusa from Clash of the Titans, and he had the skeletons from, I think it's Jason and the Argonauts. So we're getting close towards the end now. This is Cinema, a critical dictionary in the major filmmakers, edited by Richard Roud. So, it says volume 1. I had volume 2 right after it. So I don't know if I like reading these dictionary books because everything's alphabetized. So it doesn't have a good flow. I'd rather like reading something that starts in the silent era, goes to the sound era, goes from old Hollywood to new Hollywood to, something like that, or like independent cinema, then Hollywood cinema, then foreign cinema. So I don't know if I'm really, if I'm really fond of dictionary kind of film books, and this was the second part of it. So let's see. We got 3 more books to go. This one's probably dated. Motion Picture Camera and Lighting Equipment, 2nd edition by David W. Samuelson. So it's got to be dated. Again, as I said, some of these books might have potential of still being used, like practical effects. People use CGI, but you can still apply certain things, I guess. 1997, same time I first went to the U.S. I have a Scottish. Oh, you have a Scottish cousin in Canada. Oh, right? Okay. So this is a book on Seinfeld, The Totally Unauthorized Tribute by David Wilde. I haven't read it. I got a library book sale. In the past, I've gone to these library book sales, and you can get books for like extremely cheap prices. If you go to Barnes and Noble, they might have great books, but they charge quite a lot for them. So, getting them from a library book sale or getting them off of Amazon used. The only thing with Amazon used is like you might have to pay for shipping charges. So otherwise, it's not a bad thing. That's how I got my Hitchcock book. The Shutterfly Guide to Great Digital Photos. I don't know if this is worth it, but I think I picked it up again at a library book sale. So, it's like $1.50, something like that, Okay. So anyways, that does it for this, today's boxes of books. And Valerian, I don't know if you watch my channel, but it's become one of the, Oh, yeah. I don't know. You're talking to somebody else in the chat, Sasha. Okay. See you later, Todd. So, anyways, let's see. There's two people on here. So I was just saying earlier in the stream, I think I'm going to try to do these every single day, maybe, or just about every single day until I get through all of it. Try to make it probably like 7 p.m. each day, which would be 12 midnight UK time. The reason why I want to do it now and why I want to get through it is because I live on the third floor of a it's a house that I live in, but it's an apartment building, and it's 3 apartments on each floor. So I live on the third floor, and above me is the attic, and um, um, that's where my books are, in the attic. So because of that fact, when the summer comes and I'm on the third floor, I'm the only one that gets the attic. The 2 guys below me, they don't have access to the attic, so it's my attic. So, but anyways, in the summer, the heat rises, so it's very hot in my apartment in the summer. So, um, like bringing boxes up and down from the attic to my floor is really, really hot. So, um, oh, hi, Horror DVD Devil. I'm just leaving. I'm just about to wrap up my stream. Anyways, so that's why it's winter time. I want to finish. I want to do this. I want to show the books now because I'm afraid like when the summer comes, it'll be just extremely hot, and it will just be quite a bother to go up and down the stairs of the attic and down here to my apartment to do the streams. So probably 7 p.m. each day. I'll always leave a notification on YouTube and Facebook that I'm going to be on. Otherwise, I won't come on. But thank you very much, Horror DVD Devil, about the electric guitar. So I think I'm going to do this tomorrow at 7 p.m. Now I'm also trying to keep in consideration other people on YouTube and not try to clash with their stuff. But I have shown some of these books before. This particular box I've shown before in one of my videos, but it's been a long time. It was like, God, I don't know, the start of last year or the end of the previous year. So it's been quite a while. So anyways, I'll leave it at that. Thank you everybody for watching. Sasha, LJ, Horror DVD Devil, Todd, who else watched today? I'm scrolling up just to take a look. Who else did we have today? Let's see. Okay. So in the guitar video, I'm gonna try and do that from my iPhone. I think I can figure out how to do it. A stream from my iPhone. I might show my computer with the tracks, on the GarageBand live. I think I got to pick up one of those small iPhone tripods so I can everything steady and everything. So turn the camera around without the iPhone around without a big problem. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you everybody for who will watch later on after this video is streamed. And I think I'm going to try to be on tomorrow. If I do so, YouTube and Facebook, I will leave a notice that I will be on. If I don't leave a notice, that means I'm not going to be on. So, and I'll try to say it at least a few hours before I come on. So, thank you everybody. Hope to see you soon, and thanks for watching the stream. Bye now.